what in the world is going on? What is happening with this whole meanness and the increase of it?
And I don't know if anybody else has felt the same way, but I feel like it's more and more. You can just like hit somebody at the wrong moment and you're like, whoa, what is up?
Yeah.
They don't even know what they're angry at or because of or who, but when there's this sense of like, I've lost control over whatever part of my life,
Yep.
then it freaks people out, and freaked out people get angry. All right, guys, got a fun one here for you today. Before we do, always, it's not a late show without.
It's Wednesday.
Yeah, Wine Wednesday. I got the Timbre Winery opening act 2015 Chardonnay. Santa Barbara County, so a little bit south of Napa Valley, for those of you guys who know that. Santa Barbara is a really big Pinot Noir and Chardonnay region.
Oh, okay.
So,
that's cool branding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
It looks really good. I love the like abstract kind of images there
cool.
on it. We've actually been to Santa Barbara before, to quite a few wineries, like for professional life in the past, scoping that out. But 100% aged in barrel aged for 11 months. Yeah, in French oak. So, you know, Chardonnay, for those of you guys who don't know, Chardonnay is the big white wine of the wine world. And
do you know how you say it in the South?
how?
Chardonnay.
Chardonnay every day.
Or in Springfield, either.
Yeah. All the. What kind of flavors do you typically get from a Chardonnay?
Well, typically butter.
Yeah.
Very like heavy, buttery.
Yeah. Lots of that vanilla, buttery, rich profile, which is why
rich.
Lots of people like it. Like, there's no sugar in this, there's no sweetness, but you kind of get that like familiar vanilla-y butter. Do you know what that comes from?
Well, the soil that it's grown in.
Yeah, right. But it's also the when they age it in French oak.
Oh yeah,
that's what it's picking up from. Oak always creates this vanilla-y, buttery type profile.
Yeah.
So.
All right, well, let's try it out.
Nuts. Yeah, you don't want to have this conversation.
No,
anymore.
yes,
So
I
it's
do.
cool.
I love it, Josh.
Yeah.
I learn something from you every day.
I am your teacher.
Some things.
All right. Well, how was your?
It's actually really good.
Yeah, it is good. Switching it up. Tell us about last week. How was your week?
I've had a great week. There were some low points, and I don't even need to get into them. I just think there's just been some drain and just like, I don't know, like extra different stressors, and the pandemic and just life just kind of keeps you on your toes, because I feel like every week it's kind of modified and it's different,
Yeah.
But professional highs, I've had a blast working on this really exciting project for Studio 88, and we are, as a team, decided to have a conversation about the state of mental health in dentistry. And I really wanted to have a collaborative conversation, and so I am interviewing. I just finished my second interview, but I did one yesterday, another one today, with 4 different dentists, and really just getting their heart and soul on the subject and giving them the platform to open up, talk about what's working for them, what they've learned through their experience of being in dentistry, why this is such a problem, why there are so many social stigmas and people feel extremely isolated. Regardless of the industry, this topic is prevalent right now. Yeah. And we cannot possibly talk about it enough. So that's just been really, like, I have left both of those interviews feeling extremely inspired.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some good people too you're interviewing.
Yeah, for sure. So you guys can look out for that in September on Studio 88's channels, and then I will, of course, cross promote. But yeah, Dr. Shakila Ngadi, I interviewed her yesterday, and she's kind of the authority on all things emotional health and really can speak very strongly to mental wellness. And our conversation yesterday was fascinating and just full of light and hope and wisdom. So, and then another one with Dr. Jennifer Miller today.
Yep.
I have 2 more tomorrow with Dr. Brandon Pryor, 100 West Dental, and
Getting a
Dr.
male voice on, which is cool.
Yeah, I'm super excited. And then Dr. Sarah Metz. So it's just going to be, it's been a jam-packed week, honestly.
Yeah, you don't realize how much some of those putting in interviews and podcast interviews and all that into your week really can suck up your time.
Yeah, so time management for me this week has been really critical. I think I empathize now with like you doing go lives every week and even the Not So Late Show, just whatever. There's a ton of time that goes into mapping it out.
Yeah.
We're not big like wing it people.
Right.
And I want to make sure the conversation is really intentional and dialed in. So yeah, it takes time.
Yeah. I had a podcast interview today as well. So, and a couple phone calls. And so it's just, busy week.
Do you have any photos or no?
Of what?
I think I thought I put one in there.
Okay. I'm sorry. Of your you podcasting. Of course I do have that. So that's you, and that's Shaquila and Gotti from yesterday.
Yes.
A little screenshot. You guys doing like?
We're just trying to mix it up.
Well, it looks like she's got jazz hands, but you're trying to do a gang sign.
I don't know. This would be rock.
Hook 'em horns.
Yeah, I was like...
Rock on.
Yeah,
and
a little more rock on.
Jazz hands.
It's probably pretty appropriate.
All right. Did you ask her to do jazz hands, or she just...
Nope, all on her own.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she wanted to mix it up.
Yeah, nice.
So, Shaquila inspired.
Cool. Everybody out there that's on right now watching us, give us a shout out. Show us that you're out there. Say, hey, what's up? Any questions for tonight's episode? Drop them in the comments there on Facebook. We've got it up and watching that as well.
Well, tell us about your week.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody else is out there is like feeling the funkiness from just COVID and I think everything. And I think there's like positive moments week to week, but there's also just that underlying low level funk that I think everybody is aware of.
Yes.
Like if you talk to team members and pull them aside, they're like, it's just weird. It's just funky. And it's nothing like we're doing. It's just, and it's not even like the business. It's like just overall kind of life.
Right.
So yeah, that's like interesting. But we actually had to say goodbye to a team member this week.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is tough. Really, for the most part, one of the first times in 7 years that we have had to say goodbye to a team member.
Yeah.
And it was tough. And like I actually have this thing with my team where at some point in the hiring process, we tell them this probably won't be your last job. Because that would be like weird and creepy, right? If we're like, the expectation is like, pledge your sword for life.
Unless they're awesome and they want to stay.
No, of course. Like
them out.
They're welcome to. But no, sometimes companies and employers can just get weird like that, right? Like, why would you ever go anywhere else? And so I'm like, look, I don't expect this to be your last job. I hope you look back and it's one of your most fun, most fulfilling experiences. And so we've always said that, and it's always kind of been our vibe and culture. But when somebody like a key team member has to leave, it's still hard.
It is.
So we did that on Monday, and really one of the ways I run a business is looking back on the experiences that I've had with other businesses that haven't been good, or being a part of other companies where I was like, that's not quite healthy. And one of the things I've always hated is when you bring in a new team member, there's always this like pomp and fanfare around it, and it's like you kind of set them up like, here's so-and-so and they're gonna be amazing. Like I see Whitney's on, like here's Whitney and she's joining our team and she's gonna kill it and rock it and all this. And as soon as Whitney's like, hey, I'm taking something else, it's like, you're dead. You're dead to us, out, and it gets awkward and it gets weird. And so always wanted to like have this value where it's like we love out the same way we love in. And so tried to do that a little bit Monday.
I think it's a really important principle. You and I have both experienced being loved out, and then we've experienced being
the opposite of that.
Not loved out. Hated out. Or
I don't know if it's quite hated out, but
or
shafted, like shunned.
It just hasn't been celebrated.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
even our time there wasn't honored
Right.
or celebrated in the right way. So I think that that's something we're probably definitely more sensitive to, even if we don't, like if someone leaves and we don't understand, I mean, it's still, we just care about them. So
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, it's just about people.
Yeah. And the fact is this team member gave us, you know, an awesome 4.5 years of their professional journey. And I super, super appreciate that. And they were a valuable part of our team and brought so much good to it. So,
We need to move on.
So, yeah.
Let's not make this emotional.
what to, ba-ba-bum. There's no music there, but transition. Hey, Joanna, what are you watching, reading, all that?
Oh, I see what you got there with. We've been watching Friends. I know. And
The
I'm not
sitcom,
ashamed.
the 90s
I am
sitcom
celebrating
Friends.
this 90s sitcom called Friends. And the funny thing is, he and I have never watched it.
Yeah.
So right now, one thing I have learned about myself is I need to be really careful the type of content that I'm taking in and absorbing and all that stuff right now. I think that like really crazy, whatever, violent stuff, or we tried to watch the documentary with
Jeffrey Epstein.
And
Just a little too much.
excuse me, I couldn't do it. And I think that's just, we have to listen to ourselves right now. And I'm constantly reminded of this, like, listen to your body, listen to the thoughts racing through your head, or, you know, any type of signals your body's giving you that this is making you uncomfortable,
Yeah.
or making you, it's pushing you into a place that's not good,
Yeah.
or not positive. And I just, you know, not that we won't ever go back and watch that, because I find I want to know like all the details of that story, but at the same time, like you also have to guard your heart and protect yourself. And so, so we just skipped over that, switched to all things.
And went Friends.
Yeah.
Landed on
Hardcore.
Friends. So any of you guys out there watching, let me know, like, who has not watched Friends? Because I feel probably in the minority out there for sure, especially being a little more Gen X and growing up when that was a huge deal.
I know, we just literally were so busy working.
Yeah, it was like school and work and launching into the beginning of career, and it was like...
And then this whole epic series happens, and we just missed it. I mean, if you know him and I, it's not surprising.
Yeah.
But
so like HBOMax came out, like, I don't know, HBO, I'm really having a hard time tracking with them. It was like HBO, then HBO Now, then HBO Go, and now it's HBOMax, and we keep having to switch these apps.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyways, flip that on, and for whatever reason Friends was there, and I was like, we have never watched this. So it's interesting. Who's your favorite character?
Oh man, I don't know.
Yeah?
I struggle with that question, because I really enjoy the mix of all of them.
The chemistry.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, of course I love Monica. You know.
Monica's my favorite too.
Is she?
Out of the females, yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I probably just relate to her more. I'm definitely not a Rachel.
No? You don't relate to Rachel?
No. She's so adorable, and I'm a huge fan of Jennifer Aniston, but I don't relate to her character. So definitely Monica. I mean, I don't know. They're all just crazy. Joey is crazy. Chandler is just such a geek in his own way. Phoebe, just like, honestly, that surprised me.
She makes you laugh the most,
yes,
I think. Yeah.
She actually might make me laugh the most. So yeah.
Yeah.
How about you? Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, out of the girls, it's probably definitely Monica. Out of the guys, it'd be probably Chandler. Just his dryness and sarcasm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, Ross drives me nuts, to be honest.
Yes, he drives me nuts too.
The whiny baby.
We don't like whiners. Yeah, Sarah said she couldn't watch Epstein either. Too much. Thank you, friend. That's validating.
Yeah. And John Kuhn says Phoebe, hands down. If you guys are out there, drop your favorite Friends character in the comments below. Let's talk about that.
John, I want to know who Ariel's favorite is. I mean, dude, she wears a Friends t-shirt.
Does she?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
She's one of our team members at Studio 88.
Yeah.
And they're watching, and she has a Friends shirt. I'm pretty sure she's a fan.
Yeah.
But, that's one thing we haven't connected on, Ariel.
I would think she does. So,
yeah. You want to move on to the current situation?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
What's up?
What have you been up to? Did you want to talk about what you were watching?
Oh, back it up. Well, I mean, I was just going to say, basketball playoffs launched yesterday. So NBA playoffs started yesterday. So that's just, it's all in on that from now on. So it's like 4 games a day right now.
So what are you trying to communicate to me? What do you mean all in? Like,
I just mean like the men in this house from 7 p.m. on every night are going to be back here with the TV set to ESPN or ABC or TNT or whatever channel it's on.
Just kind of taking over.
Yeah, I slipped it in the notes here just so we could have this conversation right now.
It's actually when you're watching, ESPN or whatever is on, it's kind of my only time I get on my phone.
Oh, yeah. So see, there you go. I just figured it would be less
dual purpose.
Yeah, it'd be more calm if we had the conversation in front of other people. So.
Oh my gosh, this isn't new. This isn't new.
No, but yeah, that's there's no reading at night or anything. It's the
okay.
playoffs, so.
Okay. So that's something. That's getting me behind. I have a stack of books.
I know.
I don't know. You guys.
You can read.
I know, it's just so distracting. Is anyone else a little I don't know if I just get distracted.
If there's a basketball game on, you are welcome to do whatever, including reading.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Wow, women are liberated in the Scott home. So, in case you were wondering.
There's also many more rooms in this house to go and relax. I know,
we all like to be together.
Yeah.
I can put my AirPods in and listen to some classical and read.
Sarah Ritchie says she's Team Monica and Team Chandler. So yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Cool.
Let's move on to the current situation.
Yeah, you actually have something here that's sports related, which kind of surprised me. So,
thank you. I thought you would enjoy it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I came across this article today. Did you guys know that this past Monday, 250,000 people signed the petition by Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields asking the Big Ten to reinstate the fall football season. So in case you guys are just totally out of the loop and living in a cave, no offense, or you just don't have anyone in your home that's into sports, it doesn't even have to be a guy. We're not doing gender things here, but the Big Ten was canceled, the conference.
Fall sports.
And so all college ball basically has been, stopped or whatever. So what I love is Justin Fields is, he's an OSU. He is the OSU quarterback.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So he started this petition using his freedom of speech, which of course I champion. And I just thought it was pretty cool that he has so many petitions. I signed it today.
Oh, that's cool. I actually had no idea this was going on, so you're educating me here.
Yeah. So I watched some commentary on this from CNN today, some YouTube videos.
I love how proud you are of this too.
I'm very proud of this, yeah. And some of the questions that they were presenting were, should the players have a choice? Does it come down to just liability? Well, Justin Fields, he made a profound point. He said, we're actually safer if we play football than if we were left to our own devices.
Yeah.
I actually probably agree with that.
Yeah.
There probably is a team not going to be as conscientious of safety protocols or whatever. And if they play, it's going to be all the things in place. Some of the commentators on CNN and attorneys or whatever, they were arguing, their argument is this: passion for the game is not enough to play during a health pandemic.
Yeah.
And they kind of said it's not a good enough reason. but that you need to have like a bigger incentive, you know, or a bigger reason or a motivation to play. So that was interesting. He liked what Justin Fields was saying, though, about we potentially would be safer playing football than if we were not. Mm-hmm. He did think that was actually a solid argument. He also mentioned that, well, he freaking said shame on the Big Ten and Pac-12 conferences for not having their crap together and being ready for the season and not having all of their safety protocols and processes and systems in place. And I mean, he was livid.
Wow. No, that's interesting.
That's what I learned today.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think on one side of this is college athletes have never been paid, and this is a big, it was a huge deal last season, and I think we're getting closer to making some progress there. But that argument of taking unpaid athletes and putting them at risk.
Yeah.
And how colleges, Big Ten conferences, Power Five, you can't have it both ways. You can't profit off an athlete and also go put them at risk. So on some side of this, I think it's actually really good conversation to move that forward, because the fact is colleges profit hundreds of millions off of these athletes. On the other side, they're completely right. I'm like, knowing where some of these athletes come from and their hometowns and their environments, colleges invest hundreds of thousands into their athletes in nutrition, in fitness, in health and safety.
For them.
And
honestly, it's good for their professional future. And so if you take away this year from all of those players, I mean, it's a detriment to their professional future.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah. It will be.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if Justin Fields doesn't play, this potentially could have been his last year, and then he could have went to the NFL. So if he has an amazing season and Ohio State was expected to be top ranked and make a run, he has a lucrative NFL contract at the end of that.
Right.
If they don't play this year, chances are he still has a contract. The value of that will 100% be affected by this. But he may then decide to play another year just to get that under his belt. So it's like it messes with their future for sure. So
we ask you, viewers, friends, should college ball go on? But should they have the freedom to choose to play at their own risk? I mean, that's really what it is. The other part of this is if the Big Ten Conference was finally like, okay, yes, there's been an outcry in the United States.
Yeah.
The other part is they then have to get their crap together.
Right.
And put all the things in place.
Yeah, I mean, the SEC, one of the other Power 5 conferences, said that they are playing. So if they play and OSU doesn't, because the Big Ten won't, that's a huge deal, because then it affects recruiting. People now that were like, well, I was going to go to Ohio State, but they didn't play this year, and I'm not sure what they're going to do. So I'm going to actually change and go to Georgia or go to Alabama or whatever. And then, there's a lot to it for sure.
Super interesting. Well, you're welcome.
Interesting. I love tonight's topic. Kind of came off of our conversation last week about Colorado Karen.
Who doesn't love a good story about Karen?
So if you haven't watched or listened to last week's episode, you could pick that up. But just kind of taking that and running with it, and this whole concept of kindness tonight. So, which I think is super important.
It is, definitely. So as he mentioned, you guys remember I kind of shared our experience with Colorado Karen. If you missed last week's episode, just jump over there. You can listen to it podcast form or
and you have another one, Orange Theory Kyle.
I'm going to talk about it. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So I just learned today, because listen, I don't like stock memes. I mean, I love them, but I don't like, how do people I'm going to ask this question. I feel like I'm going to get shade thrown at me.
Probably.
What's the best way to follow memes? Is it just?
I don't know.
I mean,
I think there's some meme accounts on Instagram. Yeah.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I do not.
When I come across a good one, I do love it, but I don't follow a ton of accounts.
Yeah.
Karen, though, I think on YouTube I did find Karen meme or whatever. Oh, she's going strong. There's 1 million on there. Anyways. So kind of what prompted this conversation was I'm headed to Orange Theory. This was Tuesday morning, and actually I don't know. I always go to like, did I sleep? Did I not sleep? Because it definitely affects my demeanor. But it just had been a long Monday, to be honest. But I was determined to. Aaliyah had a sleepover, but I was like, I'm going to my class. I'm committed. I'm devoted. This is for me. This is how I give to myself. So I just pull into the Orange Theory parking lot. All of you locals in Columbus, New Albany, Orange Theory, you know that parking lot is crazy sometimes. So I know to be careful, and I am running a couple minutes behind my normal schedule when I normally arrive for a class. So, but at the same time, I'm not wanting to like run anyone over. I just pull in. This white car just, don't you love it when people just come into the middle of the road or parking lot so no one can go anywhere? So everyone is just kind of at a standstill.
Yeah.
So this white car just pulls up. I just stop politely. I'm going to go left into this space, but I wait because I don't know what he's doing because he's literally in the middle, and I'm just kind of I'm pausing for you,
behind
Betty.
him.
I'm facing him.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what he's doing.
So you got a good
like
visual
this.
of who's in the car.
A little bit. We'll just leave the description out. So he was just a big guy.
Big guy.
Older, big guy. A boomer generation.
Older, big guy boomer.
Big guy. So I just wait. He starts like honking his horn at me.
Okay.
Raises his hands and is like yelling. And I'm like, it's early in the morning. I'm just, my goodness, what the heck is wrong with people? So, and I do not like it when people freak out. Like, I am just over it right now. So this guy, I'm going to call him Kyle.
Is that not his real name?
No.
Oh, okay.
So Kyle's the male version of Karen.
I
kind of got sidetracked and I didn't say that.
Orange Theory Kyle.
So I learned that today. So Kyle pulls in with his white little, it was a little car too. Mm-hmm. He just pulls in there. Just
big,
gets
older,
all angry
boomer guy in a little car.
Little white car.
Okay.
Nothing impressive.
Okay.
So he just gets out and whatever. Well, actually, so I don't see where he goes. So I'm just in my car and I'm like, ooh, deep breaths. That was super bothersome. I don't like that. I don't like how that made me feel. It just feels like when people like do road rage, it's like crazy. So
did you hold on, did you back up and give him room, or like how did that resolve?
No, I would not move. I just sat there. So here's something. Did
you throw up your gang signs?
Don't ever try to direct me. Like, at four-way stops and people are like, and they're supposed to go and they're like, you go. No, I am not going. You are not a traffic cop. Don't direct me. You're going to get me in an accident. So that's like rule number one. Don't try
Rule number one of Joanna's rules.
My traffic.
Don't direct my traffic.
Don't.
Nope.
No. I'm not following. No.
I'm not following you.
No. It drives me crazy.
Oh, I know.
So I just like, you know what, buddy? Just whatever. Freak out. So I just sat there.
So what did he do? Did he back up?
Oh no, he just pulls really fast and he's just like freaking out.
Throws his hands
like,
up.
Whoa, you need some coffee and a muffin. So I just pull in and I waited a few minutes. I thought he was going to the laundromat. Like there's a dry cleaners right there or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, I was like,
that's like such an old term.
I was like, where
there's
do we
not
live?
A laundry.
Kyle, big old boomer in a small white car, is going into the laundromat. I'm beginning
to see a different side of Joanna.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Dan, come on. Don't you know me by now?
This is what's funny on this show. This is not the first time somebody's been like, I can't imagine Joanna doing that. I'm like,
oh my goodness. So I think the dude's going to the dry cleaners. I go into Orange Theory and then it hits me and I was like, he was in a hurry. He's probably headed to class. He's going to be in this freaking class. So, yep, sure enough, I look down and he's 8 treadmills down.
Kyle.
And Kyle, like I had to, he had to basically, when we got to the weight floor, he had to work right across from me, like in the station, directly across from me.
Do you think he knew that was you?
He knew immediately.
Yeah.
I was actually smiling at someone, Carrie, who we ran into on the walk the other night. She was there.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, what's up? as I'm walking to the weight floor, and then I see him, and I was like, oh, and then he like sees me smiling, and he kind of like looks up, and he's like, oh, I think he was like, maybe she's not mad at me, or maybe she's okay, whatever. This is a long story. So
yeah,
it prompted me to kind of like look for some resources and just open up this conversation a little bit more about what in the world is going on. What is happening with this whole meanness and the increase of it?
Yeah. And I don't know if anybody else has felt the same way, but I feel like it's more and more. Like, because that's not unusual. I feel like I'm running into that. You can just like hit somebody at the wrong moment and you're like, whoa, what is up? Or somebody barks, somebody snaps.
And they're just triggered.
Yeah. And you're just kind of like, I literally just met you for the first time, or this is our first interaction ever. So, and I think some of that, that we started off the show, talking about that underlying low level, low grade funk that's just there. And I think that probably has something to do with it. I think when people get scared, when things are uncertain, it can freak people out. And when people get freaked out, they get angry.
Yeah.
They don't even know what they're angry at or because of or who, but when there's this sense of like, I've lost control over whatever part of my life, then it freaks people out, and freaked out people get angry. So we know from professionals that divorce rates are up. 100%. I'm not 100%, but like 100%. Yep, they're up. Domestic violence is up. Suicide contacts hotline up big time. Mental health hotlines and contacts way up. And so obviously this season is challenging. And I think for me, it comes back to even that sense of control. I know I've had to kind of work through that. I haven't had my angry outbursts with anybody like that. But I think there was this whole sense of like, this was something I had control over, and now I don't. And you can kind of just get a little snippy and a little, if you're not in check with that. So
yeah, completely. I think crisis does crazy things to humans.
Yeah. So I think the question is like, how can we be the best version of ourselves in this world where there's so much more meanness?
Right. Yeah, completely. So a few truths I'd like to run through. Most humans are not bad-hearted people. And I actually wrote on this recently about this same subject.
Yeah.
However, like you're mentioning, they feel out of control. There's a lot of frustration with their life and disappointment, and it's overriding their decision to be kind. So I think the premise of this is everyone has it within their power to be kind. Even Kyle, Karen, whatever your name is. And listen, if your name is Kyle or Karen, we love you. I'm sure you're lovely. I'm sure that gets really offensive. So we will only do this one time. Yeah. We won't keep doing this.
Apologies.
Or talk about that. Yeah. But anyways, it's a pretty current social reference for a personality type and behavior.
Yeah.
But I think that many people allow the unfairness of life, right? Which life is unfair. This is unfair. Yeah. Why the heck is COVID happening? Yeah. We didn't ask for this. We don't want it. It's just happening.
Yeah.
And we can, all of us, actually allow it to affect our decision and behavior towards other people.
Yeah.
Or we can choose a higher path, right? So how do we move towards the kindness superpower? And that's really what it is. It's because when we're kind, the why behind it is when we are giving and we're kind to someone, even if they don't deserve it, like when you do that, how does that make you feel?
Yeah, no, I think it is a superpower because you can just diffuse any of that. Like kindness, literally, like pure kind of intentional kindness can diffuse any of those situations. So I think you're 100% right on that. Completely.
I think we feel like we are the best versions of ourselves, and also we will experience more fulfillment.
Yeah.
So a few things. Well, here, let me give some credit where credit is due.
Okay.
All right. I am a podcast junkie, as you all know. Donald Miller has some of the best podcast guests in the world, in my opinion. He recently did one with Adrienne Bankert, who is an ABC News correspondent.
Okay.
She came out with this book, Your Hidden Superpower.
Oh, nice.
They recap some of the points, so I'm pulling a few.
The kindness that makes you unbeatable at work and connects you with anyone.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm definitely getting that book and
add it to the stack.
Yeah.
Stacks on stacks.
With my AirPods while you guys watch ESPN. So
see, I'm helping you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So let's get into a few ways that we can kind of implement kindness and show that.
4 thoughts on kindness.
4 thoughts on kindness. Kindness takes a pause. So when Kyle or whoever reacts like that, the question is, like, really what will be the most helpful to us is, and Adrienne talks about this on the podcast and also in her book, create a knee-jerk reaction. When someone overreacts or acts in a mean way or unkind way, create a knee-jerk reaction where your response is driven from a place of, oh my gosh, what did they just hear? Who died? What happened? Right. They must have heard something so terrible to be speaking to me that way or acting that way. And so Kyle in the parking lot Orange Theory, maybe he just heard something terrible about his business. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's just in a crabby funk. Who knows? But it kind of just can help us to stop instead of reacting in meanness or anger. Yeah. Reflecting what they're doing. Yeah. Almost taking the disposition. Maybe they're going through something. It will help us not make assumptions. Mm-hmm. Which is, I think, a really, really mature way to handle a situation like that. Yeah, for sure. It's a lot of empathy, which I think there's no, you can't overdo empathy right now. It's going to be one of the main things that can get you through a time like this, putting others first, because so many people are struggling with different things. 2020 is going to go down as one of for some people, the hardest year they've ever faced. The hardest challenges, the hardest situations they've ever been through. For the rest of us, at best, it's an elevated stress level. Oh, yeah. Like, I don't know that anybody has escaped that, right? So every American has this elevated stress level, and for some of us, it's a really bad year. So I think just putting yourself in that situation of going, I don't know, like gratitude, like, we're okay. Mm-hmm. I'm okay. My family's like safe and healthy. Mm-hmm. And then just walking out and being like, hey, we got this. Like, we're cool. One other thing last on pausing before you react that I want to mention, if you don't follow Dr. Henry Cloud on Instagram, I would. He is the author of, all of the amazing boundary books. So what I am not proposing that we become doormats for people that just reek of toxicity and constantly go around. That is not at all what I'm suggesting. You need healthy boundaries with people on an ongoing basis. But let's say this is more for, it could be someone you know well and you're used to them being kind and they react like that. Yeah. Don't make an assumption. Go to that place. Maybe something happened. Yeah. But if someone is chronically treating you in an unhealthy, unkind way, that is a completely different situation. Yeah. So I want to differentiate between the two. Yeah. I mean, like a Karen or a Kyle, if it's a one-off incident, you don't know them, I'm like, I don't care. I will be as kind to you as like you're not crossing boundaries with me. You're not violating me. Your toxicity is not getting into me. I don't even know you. So I'm like, it's so much easier to be kind to them. I'm just like, oh, okay. Like, like I got you. But yeah, if it's somebody you're around, and it may need a conversation of just like, hey, what's going on? Oh, completely. Yes, definitely. Yeah. The second thing, this is one of my favorites. Kindness doesn't gossip. So, listen, few points here. People see through fake. Yeah. If you prefer to be known as an authentic person, gossip is really the antithesis of that. If kindness is your highest and best self, it is not kind to gossip. It just isn't. Yeah. Now, listen, I believe in this principle. I try to live very strictly by it. Yeah, you do. I'm not perfect at it. I have totally said things where later I'm like, shoot, why did I say that? I didn't have to say that. It wasn't necessary. Or would I have said that in front of them? So a few things that you can do to help yourself really live by this. this principle freely is live like you have a hot mic on. Live like somebody is always listening to your conversation about other people.
Yeah.
And remember, the people that gossip with you, they'll gossip about you.
Yeah.
That's kind of a tried and true statement that I've learned as a female in my early 40s.
Yeah.
That the people that really relish in like gossip and all that stuff, I mean, you're the next story.
Yeah. I think I learned that professionally with a couple of former bosses where at first, they pull you in or you're having a conversation and they're like, well, so-and-so, she da-da-da-da-da, or, he does this and we're really working through some of this. And at first what it does is it pulls you in and you're like, oh, I'm on the inside. Like he's trusts me and confides in me and he's pulling me in and I'm like his right-hand guy.
Like you're a confidant.
Right. And what you realize is that's happening with everybody. And some of that, especially from an authoritarian perspective, is if somebody's in authority or in leadership, you can actually use that as a way to bring people close to you.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're disclosing something about somebody else. It creates that like, oh, they trust me, I'm special, it brings them close. In the end, it's really manipulative. And the smart people start to see through that and you're like, oh, what's the chance that you're doing this with other people and you're doing that about me? You just kind of rotate through and they kind of do that with everybody. It pulls everybody close and it kind of pits everybody against everybody subconsciously without even thinking about it. So I think you've always been really good at this. I mean, your friends know if they say something to you, like it's not going anywhere.
No, it's completely, confidence is like everything to me. I'm also somewhat of a private person, so I just value it so much. And I think our background in like ministerial, in the ministerial profession just really added to that. You're used to listening to stories where people are disclosing their hearts and they trust you. Yeah. And they trust that it isn't going to go anywhere. Yeah. So best rule of thumb, just remember, act like somebody's always listening and just protect people's confidence. Yeah. And don't go there. That's not kindness. Yeah. Yeah. The third thing, kindness builds trust in seconds. Yeah. I love this. You would find this really fascinating.
I do.
You want to get into this?
It's like a hack.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll let you kind of like start it.
Well, it's kind of just a new approach to, it actually really challenged me. It's a new approach to how you walk into a meeting. Instead of walking into a meeting with this mindset, okay, I'm going to convince everybody of my big idea. They're all going to say yes. Come in with your agenda, your expected outcomes. What if you went into that meeting with the sole purpose of connection? What if you went into that meeting really mindful of how can I serve the people in this room? Yeah. How can I be there for them? Find out how they are first before we just get down to business.
Yeah. No, I like that. My business coach has this thing where he says, assume everybody is doing their best. Like when it comes to the team, and because he's like, nobody wants to suck. Like it's at that realization of nobody wants to suck, nobody wants to be mean, nobody wants to be grumpy or rude. So just walk in with the assumption of like, hey, everybody's doing their best, and and so even like on Mondays the last couple of weeks we've been focusing on like starting with positives. Like, okay, give me a professional highlight, a personal highlight from the week before. Like, let's start off positive. Let's start off, and I know that's kind of not kindness, but yeah, just setting those vibes down, whether it's kindness or positivity or whatever, it really can quickly create the atmosphere.
When people sense that, so your team will sense that, your colleagues, whoever you're in meetings with, we're such great readers as humans on authenticity. Yeah. We can detect fakeness immediately. Yeah. Everyone can. I mean, I would say for the most part, some people are fooled, and so if you go in with that disposition, you are going to earn trust faster because you're caring about people and you're caring about them and they feel like they're being heard. Yeah. And you're really trying to get to, hey, what are you struggling with right now? What can I help you with on your agenda? Yeah. On your list. Yeah. So I think that's something I want to like do more of.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, I love it. It's a really quick trust hack. Like if you want to develop trust with people, use kindness more.
Well, and I think that at the end of the day, we all feel more fulfilled knowing that we are impacting the people around us.
Yeah.
And so who doesn't want to live that way?
Yeah.
We all do. We don't want to just have a 9 to 5 and just, you know, go to work, come home and not feel like the people we work with, like, you know, like we're not impacting them or serving them or connected with them.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Number 4, kindness is a giver.
Kindness is a giver. And these were 3 fantastic ways that Adrienne talked about. These were also really great hacks, honestly. You can send free video smiles. How many of us get texted by people and we love them, but our week, what if your week possibly just can't fit them in? You can't go have that coffee, or, you know, you're not able to get dinner, or maybe you don't feel safe to, and you don't, you know, you're not doing any kind of in-person contact or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, what if you just do a video recording of your message instead of a text message, and you show them your smiling face?
See. Okay.
Yeah, totally. Okay. So she's literally said, before you do the video message, put your smile on, see your smile, and then hit record. Well, not like Joker smile. Oh my god.
That's my real smile.
Is it? It seemed really like wild. Just kidding. I love your smile.
Yeah.
Frame your face so that you have a, you know, you're ready to go, right? And you're energetic, and you have that smile on, and then send them a kind message and just say, hey, I just want you to see my face and know and hear my voice that I miss you. And this is what's going on this week. And I loved it because I think that right now this world is just, increasingly feels isolated because of everything going on with the pandemic. So I think that's a brilliant way to be a little more human in our texting communication.
Yeah, I love that.
Secondly, she talks about the fact that, you know, most of us or most companies right now are not meeting in person with clients. So what if you get their Venmo or Cash App handle or account and you send them $10. It doesn't take much, and just say, hey, I just took you to coffee, check your Venmo.
Okay.
And just reach out and say, hey, because I can't take you to coffee right now, I just want you to feel loved. And it's just a really great way to be generous.
Yeah, that's a great concept, for sure.
Finally, engage with your team. Ask your employees, like really sit down and go, what do you guys care about right now during this like crisis, this time? What's affecting you? What's breaking your heart? What causes are really motivating you to get involved? And maybe it's single parents or sex trafficking, or, you know, domestic violence, or homeless, you know, firefighters, homeless, whatever it is, whatever cause it is, find out specifically from your team. And then as an employer, as a company, get behind it.
Yeah.
And your team will really feel like you care about them, and not only that, you care about what they care about.
Yeah, I think that's a great conversation, mostly because everybody, like, there's so many different things going on right now that for you to even nail it down, or for you to be like, this is the most pressing concern for me, like, ignores so much else that's going on. I mean, I have friends right now that are really talking a lot about sex trafficking because they're upset that that's not getting enough attention.
Right.
Like everything else is. And they're like, guys, this is such a big issue.
Yeah.
And it's not getting nearly the media attention.
Right.
I have some that are all political leading up to the races. I have some that are still on, you know, they're on Black Lives Matter. And like, we are not moving off of this until, you know, Breonna Taylor get, you know, like that type of stuff. And then we have those that are, you know, with COVID and the civil rights. And so many things going on right now. And then some are like, I just want it all to go away. So I think taking the time to ask those questions and not kind of pigeonhole people on where they're at, but just go like, what's really forefront of your mind?
Right. Like, what's moving your team?
Yeah.
And maybe you can come together on the whole, you know, around a central theme. Really, finally, I mean, if I could say anything that I have, my takeaways, let's help our culture make a shift towards kindness. And let's not join in on the mean. I think that we're bigger than that. You don't experience fulfillment when you're mean. Neither do I. Like, you know, we are our best purpose-driven selves when we move towards kindness and generosity and gratitude. And so I think just having that mindset that people are going through things in different ways. They are, you know, experiencing this crisis on multiple levels, and we can't go through this time making assumptions.
Yeah. No, I love that. This is a great conversation. And I think for those of us who have been kind and are typically kind, it's just a time to kind of step up and let that be the voice, you know?
Definitely.
So
we didn't show the picture of Taylor Swift acting like she's a Karen, though.
Oh, is that what this is?
Yeah.
Wow.
Most Karens have really short hair. I didn't want to pick a Karen that like might look like anyone, but Taylor intentionally dressed up to look like a Karen, so I felt like that was safer.
Yeah.
Like from SNL or whatever.
That's awesome. Guys, this is episode 16. Of course, we're always coming at you live on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern over on Facebook, but we push these out later onto all your favorite podcast channels, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. So in case you missed it, it is no problem at all. Just catch up with us. I know a lot of us prefer the audio version to process that, so check those out. Other than that, that's
a wrap.
It's episode 16.
We'll see you guys it's going to be a few weeks. But yeah, we'll be back with some good stuff.
Yep, out for travel the next couple weeks. So we'll let you know. Watch social for the heads up that it's coming along. And
yeah. Thanks for hanging with us. You guys are awesome.
See you guys.